For nearly 4 months, Lou Acorn Fulton and her family lived in tents on her parents' allotment land in Wheeling, Oklahoma, enduring spider bites, 100-degree temperatures, and later freezing temperatures before finally getting a home. Fulton grew up in Wheeling, which is east of Tahlequah. But in the early 80s, the single mother began moving around the country finding work so she could support her family. After living in several states, the Fultons settled in Anchorage, Alaska, where they lived for more than 20 years.
She retired, wanted to come home and build a house. She wanted to come home.
So in August, 70-year-old Lou Acorn Fulton, her 47-year-old son Larry, 50-year-old son Daniel, and Daniel's 46-year-old wife Lois packed and drove nearly 3,700 miles to Wheeling to settle on the Acorn allotment.
Yeah, we didn't know what was, going to find out here. But when we got here, there was no roadway, no driveway. Everything was all grown up.
When she showed up, there was nothing here except a burnt foundation. This was in August, and this has really been a wet year and a very hot year.
Without shelter and very little money, they decided to purchase 2 tents to live in temporarily.
Half my stuff didn't make it here. The tent was one of them. So Ben had to go out and buy us that tent.
They stacked their belongings and covered them with tarps for protection, but several deteriorated from the elements. After a few weeks, Fulton decided to seek assistance from the Cherokee Nation.
And I assumed because of Cherokee Nation and what the paper said, I'd be able to get something temporary, long enough to build a house or cabin or something out here. It didn't happen. I went to every office at Cherokee Nation. They'll live separately. We all live on the same property, just separate households. But they combined us. And with the combination of what they get and what I receive, we went over whatever their guideline is.
Meanwhile, the family went on with their lives while living outdoors. Daniel, who lost his legs below the knees in 1997 after a motorcycle accident, says his family made the best of it.
My mother said, well, looks like we'll have to stay in tents and cook outside for a while, and that's what we did for about 3 months.
Members of the Wheeling General Baptist Church heard about the Fultons' living conditions and began donating food, water, and other assistance.
I wasn't very nice to anybody, not even the church group, but I did appreciate them.
After hearing about the family's troubles, some Cherokee Nation employees offered assistance, but by then, Lou Fulton didn't want anything from the Cherokee Nation.
But every time somebody said I'm from Cherokee Nation, I just cringed. And I said, I can hear a lot of talk, let's see which one of them does the walk.
That's when Baker began walking, requesting assistance for them from Human Services.
They were able to get them a home health nurse and donated foods and offered them emergency housing, but they'd had to come to town. And Lou just wasn't the one that wanted to come to town. And when we looked at what material was available, we decided that a 20 by 40 would work just perfectly for the lumber that we had. But all the siding, all the lumber, all the decking, all the roofing, everything, the handicap ramps, everything was donated materials. And Larry Ketcher is the director over building trades, and he sent out Mike Perryman and 10 carpenters that are in the building trades, and they have basically built this from the ground up. Everything that you see is their work.
It's a pole barn house, and out here today what we're trying to do is get the trim in it around the windows and doors.
It's been a growing experience for them. A lot of them come from pretty poor backgrounds, but I think that they saw and realized right up front that these folks had a lot worse. There's so many folks that have had a hand in making this happen. Some of the lumber yards, Lowe's and Tahlequah Lumber, have donated materials that weren't at Dotson Roberts. A lot of staff from the Cherokee Nation have donated their time.
I would think it's good. I think it's great.
I'm just amazed.
That's what I do for a living. Okay. And I've got the best job in the world. We've got $500 million a year at our disposal, and to help people.